On October 6, 2018, mixed martial arts stopped being just a sport. UFC 229 was marketed as the biggest event in combat sports history. But what unfolded inside the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas didn't look like a sanctioned athletic competition. It looked like an execution. In front of a record-shattering global audience, the biggest star the fighting world had ever created was systematically broken. And when the referee finally stepped in, the violence didn't stop. A simple title bout exploded into an unprecedented, violent street riot live on international television. This wasn't marketing. This wasn't professional wrestling theater. It was the night pure, unadulterated hatred invaded the octagon. To understand how a multi-million-dollar sporting event turned into a brawl that required police escorts and state intervention, we have to look at the exact moment the match ended. It is the fourth round. Conor McGregor, exhausted, battered, and utterly defeated, gives up his back. Khabib Nurmagomedov locks his arms around Conor's jaw, cranking his head back with terrifying force. McGregor frantically taps the canvas. The fight is over. But Khabib doesn't celebrate. He doesn't raise his hands in victory. Instead, he stands over McGregor, spits at his corner, hurls his mouthpiece into the crowd, and vaults over the top of the 20-foot steel cage. In a moment of pure rage, he leaps feet first into the crowd to attack McGregor's jiu-jitsu coach, Dylan Dennis. Instantly, the arena descends into absolute chaos. While Khabib is brawling in the front row, members of his team jump inside the locked octagon and start throwing bare-knuckle punches at a recovering, defenseless McGregor. Security guards are trampled. Police rush the arena floor. For the first time in UFC history, the president of the company refuses to wrap the championship belt around the winner's waist inside the cage, terrified that the angry crowd will start a full-scale riot. How did we get here? How did two of the elite athletes in the world push each other past the point of sportsmanship? To understand the hatred, you have to understand who these two men were. Conor McGregor was an icon, a global phenomenon who had captured two weight division titles simultaneously, crossed over into boxing to fight Floyd Mayweather, and generated hundreds of millions of dollars. He felt invincible. Khabib Nurmagomedov, on the other hand, was an unstoppable mountain from Dagestan, Russia. Undefeated, disciplined, and carrying a terrifying 26-0 record, Khabib didn't care about fame or flashy suits. He only cared about smashing his opponents. The spark that ignited the war happened 6 months earlier in a hotel hallway in Brooklyn, New York. Khabib and his team cornered Conor's close friend and training partner, Artem Lobov, slapping him over disrespectful comments made in a Russian interview. When Conor heard about it, he didn't call the UFC. He boarded a private jet in Ireland with 20 of his crew members and flew straight to New York. They snuck into the loading dock of the Barclays Center, where a bus carrying Khabib and several other fighters was preparing to leave. What happened next horrified the sporting world. Conor picked up a heavy steel loading dolly and hurled it through the window of the moving bus. Shattered glass rained down inside, severely injuring fighters Michael Chiesa and Ray Borg, who were both forced off the fight card. Khabib sat inside the bus, calm and motionless, watching Conor scream at him through the broken glass. Conor was arrested, charged with felonies, and forced to pay massive settlements. From that single moment, a switch flipped inside Khabib. This was no longer a title defense. This was blood revenge. Recognizing the massive hype, the UFC booked the fight for UFC 229. And during the press conferences, McGregor unleashed psychological warfare like never before. He didn't just target Khabib's fighting style. He crossed lines that had never been crossed in combat sports. He attacked Khabib's father and legendary trainer, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, calling him a coward. He mocked Khabib's religion. He insulted his Dagestani culture, his country, and his family. McGregor brought his own whiskey brand onto the stage, trying to force a drink on Khabib, knowing full well that Khabib is a devout Muslim who strictly forbids alcohol. Throughout the entire media tour, McGregor acted like a roaring lion. He was loud, aggressive, terrifying, and convinced he was breaking Khabib mentally. Khabib sat there stone-faced, absorbing every insult, repeating one chilling promise: "I am going to smash your boy." Then came fight night, the cage door locked, and in front of 20,000 screaming fans, the world watched a terrifying truth reveal itself. Conor McGregor was a lion on the microphone, but inside that cage he looked like a cat facing a bear. The confidence completely evaporated. The moment the bell rang, Khabib shot for a takedown. Conor defended well for a few seconds, but Khabib grabbed his legs, dragged him to the canvas, and suffocated his offense for the entire first round. In the second round, the unthinkable happened. Khabib, known strictly as a wrestler, faked a shot, loaded up, and landed a blistering overhand right flush on McGregor's jaw. The blow dropped the elite Irish striker to his knees. Khabib pounced, trapping Conor against the fence and raining down brutal punches and elbows. As Khabib was smashing Conor's face, the arena microphones picked up Khabib talking to him mid-fight saying, "Let's talk now, let's talk." Conor, gasping for air and completely broken, could only reply, "It's only business." By the third round, McGregor was fighting for survival. He cheated repeatedly, grabbing Khabib's shorts, hooking his toes into the fence, and throwing illegal knees to avoid takedowns. He managed to keep the fight standing and technically won the round on the judges' scorecards, but the damage was already done. Conor had nothing left in the tank. In the fourth round, Khabib decided to end it. He dragged Conor back down to the canvas, mounted him, and flattened him out. Exhausted and unable to defend himself, Conor gave up his back. Khabib didn't even bother sliding his arm under the chin for a clean choke. He locked his hands around Conor's jaw and squeezed with everything he had. At 3 minutes and 3 seconds of round 4, the former two-division champion tapped out in humiliation. The tap-out was the athletic defeat, but the riot that followed marked the cultural collapse of the event. Khabib jumping the fence, his teammates attacking Conor inside the cage, and the police military response created images that dominated the global news cycle for weeks. When the dust finally settled, the sheer scale of UFC 229 was historic. It generated a record-breaking 2.4 million pay-per-view buys, a record that stands unbroken to this day. It generated over $86 million in economic impact for Las Vegas. However, the consequences were severe. The Nevada State Athletic Commission cracked down hard. McGregor was handed a 6-month suspension and a $50,000 fine. Khabib, for inciting the brawl, was slapped with a 9-month suspension and a staggering $500,000 fine, $500,000 taken directly out of his purse. Yet when Khabib spoke at the post-fight press conference, he didn't apologize for defending his honor. He pointed out the double standard of the media, asking why people cared about him jumping over a cage when Conor had thrown a dolly at a bus, injured people, and insulted his religion and family. UFC 229 permanently altered the trajectory of both men's lives. For Conor McGregor, it marked the end of his era of invincibility. He would never hold a UFC belt again. For Khabib Nurmagomedov, it cemented his legacy as one of the most dominant and terrifying forces in sports history, retiring shortly after with an untarnished 29-0 record. The rivalry between Khabib and Conor will never be replicated. It was a perfect, dangerous storm of clashing cultures, unprecedented star power, and real venomous hatred. It remains the highest-grossing, most chaotic, and most unforgettable night in combat sports history,